Thank you for joining Think, Build, Launch podcast. This is an extension of Marl Accelerator. Marl is an early-stage accelerator fund for startups developing deep tech products and services for enterprise customers using 5G technology. Marl aims to create a community of investors, founders, and corporate venture teams in sectors like mobility, AR/VR, autonomous, robotics, and logistics. We invest in the next generation of founders that are shaping the world of enterprise. Our program, Think, Build, Launch, features members of the Marl community, including founders, service providers, and investors. Today's program, I am calling today's program Pathfinders in Technology, because we have Rohit Sharma. Rohit is actually a distinguished technocrat, author, and entrepreneur with a 20-year career in the fields of machine learning and electronic design automation. He is renowned for founding AI technology and systems, and for his significant contributions to the domain, including the development of advanced characterization software called Guna and the deepC compiler. Sharma's experience spans AI accelerators, AIoT, edge AI, and VLSI modeling, and he's an acclaimed author of bestsellers on machine intelligence and VLSI cell characterization. And as if all of these things did not keep him busy enough, he serves as an adjunct professor at California Science and Technology University. Rohit, given all that's happening with machine learning and all that is going on, you've been in the field for over 20 years. I'm so excited to have you on the program.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's a pleasure to be with you.
To start out with, can you share a little of the journey that led you to become a pioneer in machine learning?
Sure. So I've been working in the industry for over 20 years. And my childhood was a pretty normal one. And I had not seen a computer until I was in the engineering college. And the first time I saw it, I could not help myself but lay my hands on it. And I was in love the first sight. It just sounds so cliche that when I entered my computer lab back in 90s and I could see that I could program stuff on that, I was so excited for the whole week. And I could not wait for the next lab session to start. And that excitement I have till date. When I get up, I just cannot stop myself from opening up the laptop and finding something exciting. I just have been lucky to find that early on and has lasted with me for so long. And that and being very fortunate to pursue that in my life. I mean, there are things that can keep you away from your passion. And that's basically, I count that as a blessing and a luck to be able to work in something that I love. So I've been working in the tech industry for over 20 years, mostly in development. And in that time frame, I have worked for larger corporation. I founded 2 companies, including AITS, which is AI Technology and Systems. And I published several papers and manuscripts in international conferences and journals, and authored few technology books on machine learning and design automation. And some of them are doing very well in the best-selling category. Over the years, I sort of contributed to design automation and deep learning, working with companies like TI, NSYS, Cadence, and Purpose. And I founded Purpose to bring a couple of design automation and machine learning products to the market, working with large vendors like NVIDIA. I also enjoy working with students as adjunct professor of machine learning in California Science and Technology. But most of my energy is devoted running day-to-day operations at AI Technology and Systems. And back to my first venture, startup in 2014, when AI field was kind of up and coming, and even larger corporations like Google and Microsoft had no offerings like TensorFlow. And it seems like a stone age thinking back to 2014 when we were working on archaic softwares from GNU to build some of the software and platforms like TensorFlow. So AI field was up and coming, and we didn't have softwares like TensorFlow or PyTorch. So we ended up writing a machine learning training and inference system ourselves. So we wrote that first, and we then trained the model and applied the technology to design automation as a first company working with NVIDIA and other companies. And after a few years, Paripat was offered several $1 million exit for acquisition. And after Paripat, I looked at the next best application sometime back in 2018-19, the application of deep learning. And after talking to about 140 users, customers, vendors, it was kind of clear that deep learning will come to the edge in the near future. And that led me to architect deepC for microcomputers and microelectronics. It was an open source endeavor that led me to start AITS and in 2020. And it's still exciting to wake up every day, think of the applications and technology that will change the world, one vertical, one industry, one user, one device, and one application.
Yeah, I think what's exciting is that so many of us are the benefactors of that early work. I think of you being kind of in the Amazon forest and having all those cobwebs and bushes, and you and your machete and your team that you'd been working with kind of cleared the way for where we are now. So it's really interesting talking to you because you have so much contextual intelligence in the space. How do you see artificial intelligence and machine learning evolving within the next, it says decade here in my questions, but I think how ridiculous is that? What do you see happening within the next year? And how will that impact our everyday lives?
Or you believe it or not, it's been over a decade since AI sort of took the stronghold of technology world. Back in 2012, when there was this first paper on LXNet published in the deep learning journal, where it claimed superhuman intelligence on computer vision, meaning that computers have better vision than humans. They can identify things with certainty that humans can't. So that started this whole AI revolution that we are witnessing today. So it's been really 10 years. And in those 10 years, it's been an exciting journey. We are all witnessing that AI is changing the world quietly. One vertical, one application, one user, one household at a time. And that too without being noticed. I remember a quote from father of wireless communication industry, Martin Cooper. He once said, technology has to be visible, transparent, and just simple. And I add to that, it has to be unnoticeable. Like you and I should not know or have any reason to take note of that it is AI. It should quietly seep in our everyday lives or everyday's work without being noticed. And AI has shown that potential in many applications. And there are a lot to go on in the future. For example, cameras today, be it a DSLR or our cell phone cameras, they employ a variety of deep learning image processing techniques, like removing a person from the background, creating the image, and making your pictures look pretty using filters and whatnot. All of them, most of them have AI vision technology at work that is running on our cell phones today. Back in 2012, we didn't have enough processing power. When the students of University of Toronto were busy doing their revolutionary work, they did not have enough machines or type of machine they needed. And today we are running the same or similar models in a technology of late 70s. So it is moving fast, but not fast enough to cover the world with the application. So the pervasive nature of AI, and you ask what would happen in the next few years. It has become pervasive, and it would continue to stay pervasive and make its way into several verticals, just like electricity. And I love taking example of electricity, and the reason is very simple. By itself, electricity is not much. I mean, it's simply moving one electron from one point to the other and scale that, which has no use. I mean, you and I don't think about electrons in our daily life. But can you think about your daily life without electricity? I guess the answer is no. Like our cell phones, our car, our TV, refrigerator, toasters, and so on. I can go on another 50 appliances that run on electricity. So we cannot think of our life running normally without electricity. And AI will become such a pervasive force in the next few years and would continue that route in the next decade until it has found every application. So it has shown that potential in the last decade, and it would become like that in the next decade. And I'm not hesitating from saying that. What is clear that it would become. What is not clear, how part keeps changing every year or so. And it is a surprise every time, because I am visionaries like even Elon Musk have been wrong as to where the AI would go in the next year or 2 years. But and the progress in the AI domain has always surprised everybody. Wow. So there is this big body of discussion as to how to make it safe and compliant with the human values, which has sort of spanned beyond technology in the realm of philosophy and psychology and some of the moral values and so on. And AITS, we are also working on helping achieve that vision in our capacity by bringing AI to the masses in tiny devices like microphones, cameras, and other sensors like accelerometer, gyroscope, and there are 1,000 other sensors that a normal person is not even aware. Like, for example, you sit in your car, there are over 50 to 100 sensors around you, and that are embedded with microelectronics. Car we think of as a mechanical sort of equipment, but it is not today. In today's world, it's not complete without electronics, and we don't take a note of that. And that's what I mean by pervasive. Like, you would not take a note of that there is an AI that's running with it. So at AITS, we are helping achieve that vision by bringing AI to very tiny devices that can run without internet and without electricity, running on small batteries in stealth.
Yeah.
In 2020, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say that I think I'm so excited because I have 2 more questions and we're running out of time. So I think I just want to, when I think of the sun rising or ice melting, we actually don't see the molecules, like we don't see things change and they happen. So I hear that you are someone to watch relative to the future, and you're delighted when it is pervasive and subtle, which is great. I am hopeful to move on just a bit. As an adjunct professor and mentor, besides the technology piece, what are some essential skills that you think students and young professionals, and actually old professionals, right? Because I'm in my 50s, and we're in this era of relearning and retooling up. So what are a couple of additional skills that you think we need to be able to participate and contribute in the future of technology?
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad that you bring up my work in the university as an adjunct professor. And in the class that I have taught, every year, most of my students are in their 40s or 50s, and I teach a class with the professionals with variety of experiences and skills. And it's such a pleasure to talk to them and find out. And I'm on a daily basis, I become so happy when their eyes light up thinking about how the technology, AI technology, can be applied into the domain that they are working in. And so that has been a reward for me personally when I see that finally, after a few weeks or after finishing that course or during the course, they talk about so passionately that how they can take this and take it to their employer or take it to their business and use it in ways that nobody has thought about it so far. And I have been surprised every time. I can give you a simple example. A teacher working with disabled students, mute students, basically, came up with the idea that we can use AI technology to convert sign language to a spoken one. And the way she thought was, if we could employ a glove with the sensors like gyroscope and gyroscope and accelerometer, that actually capture the movement of hands and gestures, we could use deep learning to convert that into words and sentences, and with a speaker you could speak. So now imagine the impact of that application. There are over 70 million mute people in the world, and there are 8 billion of us which find it difficult to communicate with mute population. And if they are given these gloves that that help them communicate with the rest of the world, imagine the kind of conversation that would take place on a daily basis, and imagine the impact on the mute population. And that excites me on a daily basis. And I can go on and on that journey and talking to students. But I do agree with you. If the older population, if people like me and you in our 40s and 50s and 60s, if they are able to pick up, they have immense wealth of knowledge and skills in their industry. It's just a matter of spending a few weeks picking up the technology and thinking how that could be applied. A new student or a person in their 20s would have difficulty finding that out. So if we distribute this knowledge of AI into an older population, you will see magical applications coming to life on a daily basis.
That's so, in a culture that tends to be very youth oriented, it's exciting to hear that you do teach people in their 40s and 50s, and that you actually see the value in having experience and context as almost creating a new language with this technology. Although you did talk about the language of the sign language and turning that to voice, which is very powerful. Which, again, I think about a technology as a connector, right? It is about connection. And it's so nice to hear you talk about human connection as well. I'm simplifying my very last question because it sounds like there's a mission behind your personal philosophy. So can you maybe share, with all the complexity, with all the noise, what allows you the certainty around where you're gifted and where you're driving change? Is there? Can you share a little bit about your personal philosophy, please?
Sure. So I grew up in a mild, medium income family, and my childhood was free of technology until I grew up. And like I said, I saw the computer for the first time when I was 18. I saw the telephone when I was 15. Using those in my formative years became very exciting. And my imagination used to go wild, especially when the internet started, internet era started. I was still a student, but I used to think about applications that would change, lives of, several million people on a daily basis. They were not economically sound, but they were ideas nonetheless. And that mind has not stopped. I still conjure up things that would economically not be viable for the foreseeable future, but are definitely possible with the technology today. So with that history that I have, and like I said, I've been very blessed. If you can, my personal philosophy is find and wait for that excitement to conjure up in your mind, in your body, in your personal life, and let it take over. Let it take over your career. If you're blessed enough. And I keep talking about this blessing. My blessing is that I've been financially secure because of the people I worked with early on. They were so bright, so talented, and also financially very successful. And some of that rubbed on me, and I was able to sort of stay without a consistent stream of income for several years, which is another level of difficulty. Not many people can do that, and that's the blessing that I've had. So if you have that blessing, let your passion drive the rest of your life, and your work would not feel like work. It might sound across cliche, but you see me instead of me talking about it. The way I work, it just feels like I am 13 or 14 all over again every day. And I couldn't ask for anything better. And that has sort of guided my vision and personal philosophy for the work.
That's great. You have been listening to technocrat, author, and entrepreneur, Rohit Sharma. We'd like to thank the Marl community of partners. I would like to thank our producer, Scott Fitzgerald at Rockbox Studios here in Rochester, New York. If you have an idea and want to know more about our program, connect with me at jennifer@marlaccelerator.com. Please subscribe to our program, and we will continue to share insights on how to frame your value position, raise capital, and design for scale. This is Jennifer Sertle. Thank you for joining us.